Straight ahead on IU NewsNet, the toxic material from Ohio's train derailment is heading to Indiana. We'll show you why and how state government is responding.
Receive an alert on Monday. We have more on that false alarm sent out to students and faculty and how IU determines when to send alerts.
And learn how artificial intelligence has made its way to IU and see how it could change the future of our lives. Welcome to IU NewsNet. I'm Jonathan Breckler.
And I'm Taniya Jones. East Palestine, Ohio is trying to rid itself of toxic chemicals from train derailment in early February, but some of that waste is now coming closer than you might think. A landfill in Rochdale, about 70 miles away from Bloomington, will receive toxic waste from Ohio's train derailment. IU NewsNet reporter Liz DeSantis went there yesterday and is in studio to tell us what she saw. Liz?
Thanks, Taniya. That's right. The devastating environmental disaster following the spill of chemicals in the East Palestine train derailment will send toxic waste to landfills in several states, including one right here in Indiana. I talked with some of the locals who will be living closest to this harmful waste. Concern, alarm, and outrage in Putnam County.
How dare you guys!
Before the community could even gather and protest,
We lost integrity with that one.
the dumping of highly toxic waste began at a landfill in their backyard, a small community more than 400 miles from the site of the accident.
We've received 3 truckloads of the material already.
Some residents had heated exchanges with landfill representatives.
We're here to answer questions.
You didn't answer his question.
I will if you'll shut up.
Others came prepared with whole speeches.
I tell you, if we do not fix this, we will become a documentary in 10 years.
But this is just the beginning. Soon, 2,000 tons of butyl acrylate will be moved to this landfill here. And residents in the houses nearby are worried about possible impacts to their health.
One of my nieces is 3, one of them is 5, and they like to drink the tap water. I'm concerned that if it gets into the ground, and then we're going to end up looking like East Palestine.
The landfill, Heritage Environmental Services, which IU NewsNet confirmed has a history of violations, downplays the danger.
What we'll be receiving is soil that's contaminated with butyl acrylate, which is a chemical that's used in paint, sealant, caulking, a very common ingredient in those types of materials.
But who okayed the decision? Even Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb said he was not consulted, posting his alarm on Twitter over the lack of transparency. The Indiana Department of Environmental Management says that it was the train company that made the decision to send the waste to Rochdale.
You know, these materials and worse materials have been coming to this landfill for 41 years.
According to the EPA, Indiana is one of the most polluted states in the country per capita when comparing amounts of toxic waste generated.
So it's just about how much toxic waste is generated.
Yeah, so it's about 2,000 tons, but to put this into a number that we can really visualize, that's about the weight of 13 adult blue whales.
Wow, and you said the governor has something to say about that. What's he saying?
Yeah, so the governor has taken to Twitter to basically say that he is not in support of this move, but the governor does not have executive power here to stop this. The plant does have a permit from the EPA, and so there's no way of stopping this shipment, at least from the governor's office.
Thanks, Liz. There were tense moments on campus Monday night after students received an alert about an armed individual near Atwater Parking Garage. IU NewsNet's Ashton Hackman has more on what took place and how IUPD responds to active threats on campus.
Yeah, the alert sent out to students on Monday night no doubt caused confusion and even a bit of fear among some students, especially considering what happened just a few weeks ago at Michigan State University. Now, that first alert went out to students just shortly before 10 p.m. alerting of an armed subject near 3rd Street and Faculty Ave. IU students and people in the surrounding areas were told to take shelter and lock all doors. A final alert said that a suspect was in custody and that there was no longer a threat to campus. Now, IUPD later confirmed that the individual taken into custody was housed and given necessary resources. They also said that the person was unarmed. IUPD spokesperson Hannah Skiba said clarification on the IU Notify system and how IUPD reacts to threats on campus.
We got multiple calls on the same subject, and the callers believed at that point that that person was armed. And so even prior to getting on the scene, we felt like it was necessary to notify our community of a potential threat just in case they did have a weapon.
Now, Skiba also said it is very important for students to make sure that they are signed up within the IU Notify system to check to see if your contact information is there or if you need to update anything. You can log on to protectiu.edu. For now, reporting from the intersection of 3rd Street and Indiana Avenue, I'm Ashton Hackman. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Ashton. The future of President Biden's plan to roll back student loan debt for 26 million people is in the hands of the U.S. Supreme Court, which heard oral arguments this week. There were rallies outside of the Supreme Court. President Biden's plan would forgive up to $20,000 in each federal loans for lower income borrowers. But it's been on hold over objectives. It's too costly and it's not fair to others who paid off loans in good faith. Many IU students like Marisol Sanchez applied for the relief months ago, and she is frustrated that it is in limbo.
I feel very disappointed because I expected us to at least get some form of money. Like, I kind of already knew we weren't going to get all of our student loans back, but at least like give us something.
Millions of qualified students hope to see $10,000 to $20,000 of their debt canceled, but all of that depends on the outcomes of the arguments. Final decision could still be months away.
IU's longtime newspaper, the IDS, announced this week that it is in debt and its future is in jeopardy. The award-winning student newspaper ran out of money in 2021. It was granted a 3-year deficit agreement under the media school. But this week, the editor-in-chief wrote a front-page story saying the $450,000 debt means the paper is at risk. The Indiana Daily Student just celebrated its 156th birthday. Its independent reporting is a cornerstone of the IU and broader Bloomington community. In her letter, editor-in-chief Helen Rummel shared the spirit of the IDS as an institution. She says, and I quote, "I don't want to lose what this place is, and I know others feel the same." Indiana House Republicans have voted to stop public funding from going to the Kinsey Institute here on the IU campus. The Kinsey Institute researches topics like sexuality, relationships, and reproduction, but has drawn controversy before because of allegations that the founder, Alfred Kinsey, possibly abused children in his research. Kinsey is criticized for using responses from child predators in his research, but there is no evidence or charges filed to suggest that he abused children. However, Republican Representative Larissa Sweet cited these largely debunked allegations as a reason for the amendment.
We have child rapists in Indiana prisons right now, yet we are willing to give Indiana University Bloomington campus over $400 million as they protect the legacy of this sexual predator.
The amendment and bill passed 53 to 34 and now advances to the Senate. The Kinsey Institute directed all media requests to IU spokesperson Amanda Roach, who did not respond to our multiple requests for comment.
IU has placed yet another Greek life organization on cease and desist, this time a sorority. The suspension of Alpha Phi became effective on February 24th, making it the third Greek life organization to be suspended this school year. The chapter located on 3rd Street has been flagged for hazing, alcohol, and endangerment of others. All of the organization's activities are at a stop until further investigation is complete.
The Bloomington City Council voted this week to renew the outdoor dining program on Kirkwood Avenue, but it will be about 2 months or shorter. The program will close 2.5 blocks to traffic from April until October so people can eat outdoors. IU NewsNet's Evan Gerke explains why some wanted the time frame to be longer and others didn't want Kirkwood to close at all.
Greg Rago, the owner of Nick's English Hut, wrote letters to City Council in support of closing Kirkwood to car traffic again this year. If Rago has his way, there may be less of this and more of this.
I always thought outdoor venues are very nice to have for especially a restaurant bar thing. It brings extra income, of course, but also it's a very pleasant thing for Kirkwood and downtown Bloomington for everybody to enjoy.
Rago said businesses on Kirkwood pay for the space on the street when it's closed, including the parking spots, but thinks it's more than worth it for Nick's and the surrounding businesses.
I think a lot of people browse the other shops when they have more, when there's more foot traffic involved.
These are the barriers that block off Kirkwood Avenue during the summer. And on days like this, they provide students more chances to enjoy the weather.
I mean, right now it's kind of a guessing game when it comes to figuring out a place to stay, because it's like you could bank on campus, but more than likely people are going to have all those tables booked. So having the variety of seating is really nice because it makes it easier to say, hey, let's go sit outside.
Originally, the expanded outdoor dining program was created as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. But for businesses on the square that don't receive the benefits of an open Kirkwood, the closure is more of a hindrance than anything. Restaurants get to move onto the street, but retail businesses don't always get the same luxury.
We'd like to be able to maybe have, half a block or a full block to sell our wares outside, but we don't have that option.
Lozer said Book Corner struggles to recycle and to get deliveries when the street is closed. City Council's ordinance recommended the program be shortened to take place from April 3rd to October 1st. For IU NewsNet, I'm Evan Gerke.
The two-block Kirkwood closure ran from March 1st to October 31st last year.
When we come back, learn how the local school corporation is tackling racial discrimination with a new policy. We'll tell you what that means.
Plus, a Women's Technology Summit this weekend teaches empowerment and career skills. We'll show you what they have planned. Stay with us.
An anti-racism policy for Monroe County Public Schools has passed this week. The policy seeks to mitigate and eliminate racism by co-addressing root causes of racial inequity. The policy was pioneered by students, faculty, and administrators. It outlines a racially safe and inclusive environment that elevates the need for gathering diverse students' perspectives when developing school programs. The superintendent is responsible for implementing the plans and establishing benchmarks towards the policy's goals.
This policy is a robust commitment that anti-racism should be thoughtfully considered in every action.
The policy includes what school officials call a safe incident reporting system for students and staff when there are concerns or violations.
AI at IU. Education is changing at schools nationwide as software developers release more artificial intelligence tools. And Indiana University is no exception. IU NewsNet reporter Ashley Horner is here to tell us more. Ashley?
That's right. The new wave in AI technology is right on your laptop computer or your phone. And we are learning that AI chatbots can be unpredictable. Is AI good, bad, or somewhere in between? I talked to an expert here on campus. When you think of artificial intelligence, you might picture this. But now you find an AI in self-driving cars, smart homes, and even right on your phone. Microsoft, OpenAI, and Google all have chatbots that can answer questions in human-like ways, which is already affecting education.
I think it can be a very useful tool to help students.
Chatbots can be used to cheat, but students have already found other uses.
For our club, I asked it, what could we do to increase member retention and different activity ideas that we had for one of the clubs I'm participating in, and it gave me some pretty cool ideas to do. So
I've definitely used it to come up with outlines for different projects and just stuff I'm working on. So
I use it to generate ideas for my homework and other stuff, really.
Demir Kavar is an associate professor at IU who already uses AI every day.
I ask it what to wear in the morning because it knows what the weather will be.
As a student, the benefits of chatbot are clear. But some are concerned about the alarming responses and misinformation it can spread to their users.
It's honestly
very concerning.
Maybe people using it in situations they probably shouldn't.
Situations like that of a New York Times reporter who says a chatbot professed love for him and told him to leave his wife.
You know, it has these what people call hallucinations or something, or makes things up. And sometimes you're lucky, it reasons well, but you can't rely on it. This is the big issue.
I think we're going to have to make some changes in how we do classes. Maybe go to more verbal communication in class. Maybe more using your penmanship during class to write, answers for things.
So while robots and chatbots may act human, humans may have the last word.
So my question is, how can students use AI in a productive way?
Yeah, so when I was talking to Dr. Kavar, he mentioned that you should use the chatbot as almost like an addition to like a Google search. You should never use it to plagiarize or to copyright off of, but more just to spark ideas.
Thanks, Ashley.
March is Women's History Month, and this weekend is IU Women's Tech Summit. The Center of Excellence for Women in Technology puts it on every year, hoping to empower and celebrate women. Along with speakers, the two-day event offers breakout sessions. Theme includes career guidance, tech skills, empowerment, and a new one, wellness. Staff said they added this theme in response to a growing focus on mental health. Sessions vary to topical AI, imposter syndrome, to a new method for sexual harassment education. While technology is still the focus, this center broadened this year's summit to be applicable to everyone.
Technology is pervasive. It hits every area now. Like, you really almost can't study anything without there being some kind of technology involved.
You can find more information on the speakers and various events at womenstech.indiana.edu. The event is free and open to everyone.
Keep your eyes on your email. Starting next Tuesday, IU students get the chance to vote for their new student government. Voting ends late Wednesday. There are 4 parties vying for the student vote. The DARE campaign, running on a platform of diversity, advocacy, retention, and engagement, while the Excel IU's platform focuses on accountability, affordability, and action. The Revive candidacy is centered on reduce, reinvest, reengage, and recruit, and the last of the candidates, Ignite, is focusing on the pillars of belong, engage, and educate. The presidential candidate town hall will be at 6 tonight in the Maple Room of the IMU. Coming up, how IU women's basketball, now #1 in the Big Ten, wrapped up the season against rival Iowa.
And you'll meet a female IU athlete who broke a record for the first time in over 30 years. The story in IU NewsNet Sports coming up next. Welcome back to IU NewsNet. We have Katherine Hawkins in the studio to tell us about IU sports.
Hey guys, so just to start, we're gonna forget that game on Tuesday, right?
What are we talking about?
What game?
That's what I like to hear. All right, to the hottest team on campus, the Indiana women's basketball team had their regular season finale in Iowa City, and what a flying finish it was. A sellout crowd in Iowa for this top 10 matchup, as we'll go straight to the 4th quarter. Game knotted at 83 as Caitlin Clark looks to get the ball to Monica Sinano, but she cannot get the layup to go. Next play, still tied, Mackenzie Holmes gets the ball from Grace Berger, but gets fouled on the shot. She'll make both of her free throws. The Hawkeyes with a chance and 1.5 seconds left, and Caitlin Clark with the win, and she gets it to go. Hawkeyes win in a dramatic fashion, 86-85. Here's Indiana head coach Terry Morin on the end of the regular season.
Closing it the right way, and unfortunately, the ending of this chapter probably wasn't, how we wanted it to end. But yet, another book comes out next week when we go to the Big Ten tournament.
Even with the loss to Iowa, the Hoosiers are still #1 seed in the Big Ten. Indiana will take on the winner of Michigan State and Nebraska on Friday at 11:30 a.m. in Minneapolis. And yes, there is a chance they face the Hawkeyes in the Big Ten championship game. Over to the men's side, as they also hosted Iowa this week. Fans in full force for this one, but it was not pretty from the jump. Early in the first, Indiana playing good defense, but Chris Murray opens the scoring from way down to take the lead. But IU fighting back as Miller Kopp drives the lane and finds Trace Jackson Davis with the slam. TJD finished with 26 points. But it was not enough to outduel Chris Murray and the Hawkeyes. Murray went for 26 hitting, another 3 over Trey Galloway. The Hawkeyes get the win 90-68. Indiana finishes the regular season on Sunday with a rematch against Juwan Howard and the Michigan Wolverines. The Indiana men's swim and dive team are no strangers to taking home a trophy. Winning their second consecutive Big Ten championship just last weekend, this brings the men's team to 29 total wins in history. They finished the weekend with just under 1,600 points, taking down Ohio State by over 300 points. The Hoosiers got first place in 8 of the events, and senior Brendan Burns was in 5 of those winning events. Burns was also named Swimmer of the Meet for the 3rd year in a row.
Super proud of the guys this past week. It was a total team effort from top to bottom, but the job's not finished, and we'll be looking forward to another good performance at NCAAs.
The IU swim and dive team will compete in NCAAs the first weekend of March. Now to the BART as Indiana baseball returned to action on Tuesday against Butler. And the bats were out for good for the Hoosiers. Indiana opened scoring with 4 runs in the first, led by Carter Matheson, who went 3 for 3 at the plate, scoring 3 runs and 1 RBI. Philip Glasser, Josh Pine, Brock Tibbetts, and Bobby Whalen also had multi-hit games. The pitching for the Hoosiers was also stellar as Ty Bothwell picked up his first win of the season, and Craig Yoho struck out 3 batters in 1 inning. Indiana had 16 Ks on the night en route to the 13-2 victory over the Bulldogs. Here's head coach Jeff Mercer on how his team can continue to win games.
We've talked a ton about being at 6 runs or less. When we give up 6 runs or less, we're winning 65 or 70% of our games over the last year and a half. So just really investing into that, and we've been more in that 3 to 4 range consistently. And our catching is a huge part of that. Our throwing has been a big part of that. Our catchers have thrown so much better.
The Hoosiers take the diamond again in Greenville, North Carolina for the Keith LeClaire Classic. First pitch scheduled for 4:30 p.m. against East Carolina. Indiana women's tennis won back-to-back games this past weekend. On Saturday, the Hoosiers took down Western Michigan University, shutting them out 4-0. Doubles partners Laura Schneider and Sabi Nihalani had a major contribution to the win, winning 6-0. On Sunday, the team beat Belmont 5-2. Even though they lost in doubles, they were able to come back during the singles matches to secure the win. These 2 wins may bring the Hoosiers some momentum into their home match versus Northwestern this Sunday. 33 years ago, Dee Dee Nathan won the women's pentathlon for IU. Finally, IU has another winner representative women's track and field. Our anchor, Jonathan Breckler, has the story.
Hope Purcell is your women's pentathlon champion.
Hope Purcell made history when she won the Big Ten Women's Pentathlon. With a score of 4,109 points, Purcell became the first IU woman to win the gold medal in the pentathlon since 1990. Not only did she win, but she also ran a personal record in one of her events.
I was able to PR by like 10 seconds and still win.
This is her first time competing in the event after injuring her foot last year. The pentathlon includes 5 events: the 60-meter hurdles, the high jump, shot put, long jump, and the 800-meter race. Athletes must show prowess in speed, strength, agility, and endurance. Purcell says that she is well supported by her friends and teammates.
We're competitive, so we push each other in practice, but it's also like very, very supportive. So anything that we do, they're all cheering me on.
Back in 1990, Dee Dee Nathan won the Big Ten Pentathlon for IU. The year after, she came in first in the heptathlon in the Pan American Games in Cuba. She went on to run in the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, Australia. Purcell's training partner, Erica Bogard, an Olympian, says that, for Purcell, the Olympics are not out of the question. She says that Purcell's dedication and talent are unquestionable.
4 years ago to now, she's just amazing, and I pushed her to her limit, so just I honestly think she could do so much better, and I'm looking forward to an outdoor season for her, so she's doing her thing right now, yeah.
With the outdoor season comes more opportunities to win Big Ten titles. This will be Purcell's last season running, and she can only go up from here.
Jonathan, you got to actually interview her. What was that like?
It was incredible, honestly. I mean, for her to come back from injuring her foot last year to this year winning the pentathlon, amazing, honestly.
It is amazing.
Well, thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
One more thing before we go. The NFL Combine is just getting underway in Indianapolis, and IU's very own linebacker Cam Jones, ranked number 23, is preparing to showcase his skills this year for the upcoming NFL Draft. NFL coaches and scouts will be at the Combine to find potential players from a pool of over 300 athletes. IU fans can go to the Combine at Lucas Oil Stadium to watch Jones and other players try out for the draft.
That's it for IU NewsNet for now. We have behind-the-scenes student production team in the control room working behind the studio for this broadcast. We thank them. We thank you for watching. I am Taniya Jones.
And I'm Jonathan Breckler. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IU NewsNet. Take care, and we'll see you next week.